Hello everyone, welcome back to another episode of Train Sim World 6. Today we are back once again on the Great Western Express Remastered route, my current favourite route in the game, and we're doing a service with the Cargo Line Volume 4 Military Pack by Skyhook Games. We're taking this train from here at Acton Yard down to Reading, and we've got a direct rail services class 66 on the front from Rivet Games' Engineering Express pack. And yeah, we've got five KWA Warwell wagons. This is probably one of my favourite freight wagons in the game because the weathering details are something else. Skyhook absolutely cooked with this one. I'm like, just is that three-dimensional? No, it's two-dimensional. But yeah, it almost fooled me for a second into thinking it was three-dimensional. It's that good. Anyway, I've made sure this time, since the shenanigans that happened last episode with the Cargo Line Volume 1 service, I've made sure that we aren't held in Acton Yard for too long on this service, and not for 15 minutes like we were last time. Right. Set this thing up. So go overhead screen, brake timing, goods. Shut the screen off because we don't really need it. Direct brake, automatic brake, off. For some reason, the DRS and Ocean Network Express 66s have the railhead treatment train remote, which is somewhat weird. I don't know exactly why that is. High speed. Oh, the high speed switch isn't modeled in this version. I forgot. Instrument lights. Turn them down a bit. And let's AWS and DSD and shut that. Thank you. Click spot's a bit weird. I know this is the fourth 66 video in a row, but it is what it is. I wanted to do some like prototypical freight shenanigans on this line. Also, we do have an end of train lamp. The cargo line packs are quite good at that. Let's have a bit of a look around Acton Yard. We've got some DB Schenker HKA wagons, which are included with the route, some JNAs from Southeastern High Speed, and some HOAs from Cargo Line Volume 2. A couple of 66s over here, DB Schenker, and another DB Schenker. Yeah. And here's Acton Mainline. The only train that stops here in this timetable is the Greenford Shuttle, which I think is every half an hour in each direction. Nowadays, this station is serviced by the Elizabeth line, of course, but in this era, it was still GWR, of course. Yeah, this version of the 66 has notably less features. Doesn't have dynamic suspension, and it doesn't have the high-speed switch model, but it's still probably my favorite version of the 66, since I do like me the DRS Blue. Yeah, I also have the live weather mod active, and also a number of other mods active, which including Heathrow Connect, London Underground, and first Great Western branding patches from the Train Sim community website. You can find a collection of all the mods that I use linked in the description. And now all we have to do is wait. Let's actually open the window, since we might as well. Oh, I forgot, I need to keep this in neutral while we're at a red signal. Excuse me, just needed to cough there. So where are we eventually ending up? Okay, we're going the full length of the route, through Reading Station and down near the Reading Upland Triangle depots. So, yeah, that's actually a Rail Operations Group Class 37. So we might actually see that. I thought in the original timetable, the Cargo Line military services stopped in Reading. So, yeah, look how busy Reading is. Train there heading to Shalford. Train here heading to Newcastle. That's a long way. Oxford, Paddington. That chap's just leaving. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff happening on this line. Oh, hello. What's that? Aha! It's a Heathrow Connect Class 350, standing in for the 360, of course, since we don't have that in the game. And we've got a green signal. shut the window. Add notch 1. We have got very comparatively little cargo on the back, so it shouldn't take us too long to get moving. Pretty decent weather in Britain today. I do love me the live weather mod. It adds that little extra touch of realism and means I don't have to mess around trying to find new weather presets to use in the default game. Oh wow, I could go up to notch 4 already. I think we have a 30 limit leaving Acton Yard. Yeah, I've been playing, in the time since we last saw each other, I actually went and did all of the Class 220 ECS moves, which are some central line stuff going on over there. I did all the Class 220 ECS moves that are included in the timetable. Pretty short, but I got all of them up to Platinum, so that's pretty nice. Hello. Tad of stutter there, but we're good. We also, because of the KWAs, are limited to 60 miles an hour since that is the top speed of the wagon, and the timetable is reflecting that nice. Because there is actually a bug with these services in the... There is still a bug, as far as I'm aware, with these services in the 2016 timetable, where it actually lets you go up to 90 miles an hour, which is obviously highly unrealistic for the KWAs. Also, I did post a members-only video doing a class shed rail tour from Paddington to Reading in some pretty heavy rain. If you want to go check that out, it's just a driver's POV. You can go join the channel now, and it only starts for about $2 a month. Yeah, and with that obligatory plug out of the way, we're getting to Ealing Broadway. There's a District Line D stock just departing there, represented by the Class 484 from Island Line 2022. There's a Central Line service just pulling in, using the 1972 stock from West Coast Main Line South in lieu of the 1992 stock. Yeah. Ealing Broadway is a great place to train spot, since you've got the high-speed services streaking through. There's a network of Turbo coming in, doing the local service. Nice. First Great Western Dynamic blue on the front, and then a GWR green one on the back. I love that. Love how they can... how the First Great Western and GWR stock intermix with each other. 30 miles to go, so should take us about half an hour without any adverse signals, but since this is the GWE Remaster, you can basically expect adverse signals on freight runs, since this route has an absurd amount of traffic, the second largest UK timetable of... yeah, you get what I mean. The second largest UK timetable of any route in the game. Right, and we're already at 60. Coming up on West Ealing. Yep, there goes the Greenford branch off to the left. To the right, I mean. Sound the horn, because this bridge, it has a whistle board. Oh, let's also do a rail singing fly past, because those just sound really cool. Listen to this. Those I will maintain to the end of time that rail singing should be a core feature in the game, because that is just amazingly done. I believe the only two other routes that have rail singing are Sandpatch Grade and the North London line, but yeah, I don't think the rail singing on those two routes is particularly well done. And also, I happen to have neither of them. I actually picked up the North London line, played it for 10 minutes, and immediately refunded it. The quality is just not there. Like, I know some people are immediately leaping down into the comment section going, "Oh, it's a solo developer, you shouldn't be giving them too much criticism," but yeah, the route quality is just not there at all, unfortunately. I wish it was. I wish that route was high quality, because I would love to drive the Class 378, but unfortunately no. The route is just not good enough. Ooh, some GWR Green Mark 3s mixing in with the first Great Western ones there. Some FKA wagons on the right. There's always something going on with this line. I absolutely love how much stuff is always going on. Here's Southall Depot on the left, which is a excellent place to trade spot. There's some stock in the back there, I believe from Diesel Legends, if I'm not mistaken. Has a Mark III there, Mark III buffet from Preston Carlisle, and a Gronk. Yeah, just the level of detail at Southall Depot is just above and beyond. Alright, there we go. I told you we'd be getting some adverse signals today. Of course. Excuse me. Alright, let's get some direct brake going. Yeah, that's actually having an effect. Normally the direct brake does little to nothing to slow the progress of a freight train, but since we've got so few wagons on the back, it is actually helping us slow down quite nicely. Oh, HST overtaking us. GWR. Nice. I think the direct brake actually slowed us down a little faster than I wanted it to, but okay. Yeah. Considering this route is from 2018, like, the level of detail it's been brought up to is just nuts how good this route has become. Like, previously, this route wouldn't have even made it onto the my top 20 list. Now it's all jumped all the way to the #1 spot simply because it's gone from mediocre to extraordinary. And considering this is a free remaster done by one person, the level of detail is just nuts. Took over a year to do, from what I've been told, at least. All right, DSD. I think the direct brake will actually bring us to a stop at a good distance from that signal. Alright, just bring us to a stop. We don't have any specified time to get to Reading, so we're good. Alright, there we go. Let's actually release some direct brake, since we don't need all of it to hold us in place. There we go. Oh. Sometimes hard to... Yeah, there we go. 2 bar. I think it's 2 bar on the pressure. Yeah, 2 bar. I got that right. Yeah. Now, all we have to do is wait. Need to put it in neutral, of course. What is the surface actually holding us up? Let's have a look. As a... Ooh, this is 66. Ooh, with some empty aggregates wagons. Ah, hello. It's a Heathrow Connect service. Just about to head off onto the branch toward Heathrow. I think that's the one thing which I'm not too happy about with Great Western Express. The lack of Heathrow, Greenford, Windsor, Marlow and Henley branches. But apparently this route was originally built in a way that will make it future extensions impossible. So unfortunately, that means this route will never get extended, which is a bit of a shame, but it is what it is, unfortunately. I would love to see a modern era Great Western Express with the Elizabeth Line Class 345, a GWR Class 387, a GWR Class 802 and 800, maybe even a GWR Class 57 for sleepers and sleeper coaches for the late night sleeper down to a Penzance, and like make it from Paddington up to Oxford with all the aforementioned branches in place. Right, let's get moving. Notch 1. Let's actually go notch 2. I think we can do notch 2. Yeah, that surface in front of us will pull off onto the Heathrow branch, so we'll stop blocking us. Yep, there we go. It's gone onto the Heathrow branch. Did I zoom the map out? Yes, I did. Yeah. Pretty easy to get up to speed. There are a couple of light loco runs in the 66, which, yeah, This will probably be my last 66 video on this route in a while. I've basically done like all the major services that you can do. But yeah. Well, after this one I'll have done all the major kinds of services that I'll be able to do. Without, yeah. And then I'll probably get on to like the more niche services that come with this route. Basically doing every major service type that you get on this line in the new timetable. Alright. Oh, yep, as I suspected, Cargo Line Volume 2 HOA wagons, having finished unloading at the Hayes Tarmac Sidings facility on the right there. Just about to be pulled off. HST. Whenever I see a First Great Western one, I'm always wondering, is it going to have GWR Green Mark III substituted in? Oh, hello. Network of Turbo, 3-car, going into Fast Line. There's a 3-car in First Great Western Dynamic Blue. Yeah, as I said, there's always something going on this line now. And it apparently runs decently well on the 8th gen consoles. Albeit with fewer layers, of course, but it is what it is. Whoa, okay, slow down, buddy. They're going way too quickly. There's another shed. Hopefully... Oh, it's an FKA intermodal train heading toward Acton. The FKA wagons are not my favourite UK container wagons. That honour probably goes to the FFA/FGA wagons included with Preston Carlisle, but they're still decent nonetheless. Yeah. One thing I hope is, once All Aboard Studios releases their upcoming Class 70 Freightliner, I hope that it substitutes in for a lot, if not all, shed services across most UK routes, because being able to drive something other than a shed on this line and seeing some freight locomotives other than sheds would actually be awesome. Especially since the Class 70, while not being much of a looker, is quite striking in appearance. Well, we don't talk about the time a Newport crane operator dropped 70012 onto the dock and rode off the locomotive, because that actually happened. There's pictures from the time, and you can see like the whole thing, just like the whole chassis got bent. It is ridiculous. Of course, the whole thing was scrapped for parts because it's not as if it was something repairable. Good job, EMD. Well, good job, EMD, like sending Freightliner out in new locomotive, but yeah. Alright. Yeah. Another massive plus point of Great West Express is, despite the gigantic amount of surfaces and new details in the scenery, the stability is pretty dang good. Barely any stuttering or frame rate drops over time. It's pretty impressive, especially since my machine is not the best in the world, and it's a lot of routes do not perform up to standard. Looking at you, Morristown line. Like, I like the Morristown line, but I can't drive on it because, like, I drive on it for half an hour and and my game's running at 20 frames a second. It's just like I just can't make videos on it. Hopefully, the blurry textures fix coming to the game in March should help out with the frame rate, since they'll be yeah. Oh, AWS just went off despite it being a green signal. Interesting. Anyway, yeah. You probably get the picture. There is one HST light locomotive run from Old Oak Common to Reading, and then it goes all the way down to Lyra Depot in Plymouth, off the map. And that actually is, that actually looks like a lot of fun to do. I'll probably make a video on that, because previously you couldn't even uncouple the HST from the Mark IIIs, let alone drive it as a light loco. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to being able to do that. There's, Melbourne train guy, friend of mine. Oh, there's another networker turbo. All GWR green. What was I saying? Actually spotted something interesting down on the Riviera line. If you go to Lyra Depot in Plymouth and set the time of year to... what is it? To autumn, yes. There's actually a pair of light First Great Western HST power cars parked at Lyra. And from one of the... that seems to be a teaser for... what the... Sorry if I sounded surprised, but you're not exactly supposed to see passengers here. That's getting screenshotted. Mate, what? There's more? What the... what? Sorry if I startled you, but... what the heck? What in the world? Also, why do we have no driver avatar in our train? Looks like it's driving by itself. But what? Okay. Hang on, I need to zoom out a bit. Take that. Oh my gosh, that scared the heck out of me. I've previously only encountered this issue on West Coast Mainline South. I had no idea Great Western Express had this NPC issue. What in the world? What? I've travelled on this line like 3 times at this point. Ah, hello, another Cargo Line Volume 4 train. Nice. And I've never had that issue before. Hang on, let's get a... we can't see the NPCs anymore, let's actually get like a screenshot while we're here. Let's turn down the depth of field a tad. Don't think we need motion blur. Because, yeah. Yeah, that scared me. Like, legitimately. That's the first, like, TSW jump scare I've had in a while. Like, what? I've never seen that issue before on this line. Might bug report that. Because I do want GWE to be the best it can be, but that issue is honestly more funny than game breaking, but there are a couple of... This is... even after the remaster, is by no means perfect. There are a couple of services on console which you go a bit and then they just derail for no reason. So I've heard. So, yeah. I know I sing the praises of this route constantly, but it is by no means a fully perfect add-on. No TSW route really is perfect, unfortunately. I wish there... But yeah, nothing in this world is perfect, so I wasn't expecting this to be fully perfect from the get-go. Hopefully Liam's reading the bug reports and getting some fixes going. Liam of Grub Dog Games, of course, the guy who did the remaster. Seems to be... I think there is a patch in the works for this line. Not entirely sure what that will entail. "19 miles to go." Where are we? Oh, we're just approaching Slough. Well, nearly at Slough. Previously, you could actually take any version of the 66 to do the cargo line services, but previously, in the 2016 timetable, you had to take the version of the 66 that was included with the cargo line pack. So, yeah, being able to take a direct rail services 66 with a cargo line service is definitely something you're not able to do in the original timetable, but is something you can do in the new one, which is very nice indeed. Coming up on Slough, which is basically the midpoint of the route. Well, after this, stations start to get quite few and far between. I do love how stations get denser and denser, the scenery gets denser as you get further in toward London, and they space out as you get further away. Oh, oops. I did not realize there was a 55 limit in effect. Slough. There goes an HST. Yeah, that was... Yep, that comes to not paying attention. There goes the Windsor and Eaton Central branch off to the left. Alright. Yeah, our speed's slowly back up towards 60. I do like also how the Great Western Express doesn't present too much of a challenge on the driving front. Like, it's only like 0% or 0.1% grades. The speed limits don't change too often, and yeah, it's a pretty relaxing drive. That's something which I can't say about my other favourite route, Preston Carlisle. And that's, especially with those old British Rail electrics, that is a bit of a challenge to drive even with me who's putting over 1,000 miles on that line. Shut off the throttle, just let the train coast. Well, you can hear the rail singing. Yeah. The sounds on the KWAs, of course, are sourced, like, it's just the normal it's just the normal wagon sounds that you get. But they do have, that you get with the base FKAs from this route, but they do have dynamic suspension, which does... Oh. Alright, cut the throttle. We nearly oversped there, and I can't afford to have any more points docked for speeding. Is this Taplow? Yeah, this is Taplow. It's also nice to see a route that I'm so familiar with in real life getting remastered, because I'm quite familiar with this line in real life in the modern era, of course. So, despite this particular era not being too familiar to me, I am quite a fan of this line in real life. Like, honestly, having an Elizabeth line route from Abbey Wood to, what was it? Abbey Wood to Reading, complete with branch to Heathrow and also the Thames Valley branch lines, would actually be a pretty perfect route for me, since I'm more familiar with the modern era of this line than this, like, transitional period. But yeah, I still enjoy the heck out of this line. Here is Burnham, I think this is. This is Burnham anyway. No, this is Taplow and that previous one was Burnham. My apologies. So yeah, it's Burnham, Taplow, Maidenhead. Here comes the Brunel Brick Bridge. Over the Thames. Look at that. The largest... I think this is still the largest brick bridge anywhere in the world. Which is pretty impressive. That it's still standing and thousands of trains go over every day. Serves as a linchpin for one of the busiest commuter lines in the world. Pretty impressive. Those Victorians did know how to engineer big mega projects. Unlike today and High Speed 2. I'm still miffed about High Speed 2, so I'm not going to get into a rant here. But just know I'm really miffed about High Speed 2. And the utter travesty of a project that has been. Here is Maidenhead, my personal favourite of the stations on this line. Well, apart from Paddington. I've actually stood on those platforms that train spotted in real life. So weird. We just had the Marlow branch go off to our right hand side. There's another HST that just went by. Yeah, the shed runs on this line are pretty chill. You just go from point A to B, no fuss. Maybe you get blocked by a yellow signal, but you can always get the train to stop in time, and you don't have any absurd gradients to worry about like you do on, I don't know, Northern Transpennine. But actually, no, that's a bit of a false comparison because Northern Transpennine is set in the 1980s, so what would be a better route to compare this with? Let me think. What would be a better route to compare this that's a lot steeper? I'm actually not too sure. Okay, we just had was that a silent AWS? Very odd. 11 miles to go. Home stretch now. Just 2 more stations to pass. Twyford and Reading. We do have to get down to 40 miles an hour to go through Reading, but we can basically stay at 60 all the way there. There's no like speed restrictions or anything. How's frame rate doing? 52 frames a second. Okay, that's decent for this long into a TSW run. I love the added clutter and foliage detail on this line. Just really elevates the experience. It makes like foliage detail and clutter makes the world feel lived in, if you know what I mean. Like the previous, like the original Great Western Express just felt empty and dull, but having all this foliage detail is really adding to the experience. I haven't seen any First Great Western plain blue ones today, just Dynamic Lines blue, because the mod pack that I have adds both versions, the Dynamic Lines blue and the plain blue, but I haven't seen the plain blue today. They are a bit rarer than Dynamic Lines. I think it's just the way the mod works, but yeah, adds a little bit of extra variety just to keep things interesting. Apart from getting blocked by that one Heathrow Connect service, we've had green signals this whole time. That's very unusual. If you remember the last episode with Cargo Line Volume 1, first we were held for a quarter of an hour and then we were just kept behind yellow signals the entire time. There's another shed. With some... Ooh, it's a double header. JNA's on the... Oh, it's one of the rare ones. So JNA's on the front and then HOAs. It's one of the rare double-headed aggregates trains. Nice. I think there's only 2 of those a day, one in each direction. So very lucky that we managed to get to spot one of those. Yeah. I don't think there's any other service route in this game which allows you to do a double-headed 66 service. So yeah, very, very, very rare. And plus, in real life, the UK doesn't really do double-headed freight trains. Like, I know the Americans just love their triple-headed or quadruple-headed freight trains, but in Britain they just love doing their single locomotives and pulling a bit of cargo and not too much. And I suppose you could haul even more cargo now with a single locomotive thanks to the Class 99 and Class 93 locomotives that have been introduced within the last year. The 93s with Rail Operations Group and the 99s are with Great British Rail Freight. So, yeah. I would love to see, like, one or both of those added to the game, the 93 or the 99, because they're Siemens built, very modern, very European, and they can do both diesel and overhead wires, and the 93 can also do battery power as well, so it can actually run in areas with no overhead wires for like 200 miles on a single charge, as far as I'm probably getting that wrong, so please do correct me in the comments, but yeah. I think I've actually, I've seen the 99s. I went through Peterborough last July, and there's a big GBRF facility there. So yeah, I think I remember seeing the 99s at the facility at the time. As then they'd like just been introduced, or it was just prior to introduction. So yeah, pretty cool to see them. Looks as though we are coming up on Twyford with 6.5 miles to go to our destination. We have seen a lot of freight trains. We've seen an FKA train, a mixed JNA and HOA train, and a KWA military train. So the freight variety on this line is absurd, and I love it. There's a lot of different stuff, but of course you require the usual add-ons in order for that stuff to show up, which is annoying. Only the FKA and HKA trains show up by default because they're part of the route. Here's Twyford. There goes the Henley branch off to our right-hand side. I might, since Henley is pretty famous for its regatta every year, and that's why the branch was built in the first place. Basically a big party, lots of rich people and sailing. But yeah, I might actually, like, during regatta week, I might actually do like a special train from London onto the Henley up to Twyford. Goes yet another express service toward Paddington. Excuse me. Under 5 miles to run. How's FPS doing? 51 still decent for this long into a TSW run. Keeping an eye out for adverse signals, of course, since we are getting pretty close into the Reading hub. Yeah, I'm glad how well Great Western Express has turned out. It's definitely the way to do a proper remaster, but Yeah, I'm just sad that Cologne to Aachen didn't get the same treatment. The remaster was done by Dovetail and Foles World. I think it was Foles World who did like the main chunk of the development for Cologne Aachen remaster. So yeah, the only thing that's changed about the route is that all the trains that are normally in the route got TOD 4 lighting upgrades, and that's basically it. There's a tiny bit of new foliage, but the old foliage still looks incredibly weird compared to the new stuff that to the new foliage assets they've got nowadays. And there's a ton of notable bugs that still haven't been fixed to this day with the stock, most notably the load tone of the Talent 2 cutting out still. And that issue has been present since Cologne Aachen came out. It was actually a bug with the original iteration of the Talent 2 that came out with the ancient rapid transit route. And yeah, the fact that both the rapid transit and Cologne Aachen horn bugs still haven't been fixed is very, very annoying. Okay, we are starting to have adverse aspects. We also do have a 40 limit coming into Reading. So let's actually get that slowed down now. Cancel that AWS alert. Get that direct brake on the go. Okay, that was a double AWS. There are 2 AWS magnets heading up to that signal. Wonder if that's prototypical or if that's... yeah. Passing Kennet Bridge Loop, which is where you turn around the Class 220s during your ECS runs. Right, release the direct brake. Nice little lake there. We do have an adverse aspect just before Reading. Is there a train in my platform? There is! Heading to Oxford. So at least he's heading in the right direction. But yeah, he's definitely in the way at the moment. So let's get some more direct brake on the go. Coming into Reading, so yeah, expect a lower frame rate, that's all I'm gonna say. Because yeah, this area is a hive of activity. There's the line coming in from Redhill, which is also the bit from Redhill to Reigate on that line is actually drivable on the ancient Brighton main line add-on. Well, not ancient, but still pretty old. 20 miles an hour, that's decent enough for approaching a signal. There's a 165 with a 3 car on the back. Ooh, another dynamic lines blue. No sign of what is it? No sign of plain blue. Okay, we're now clear into the platform, so... oh, HST overtaking us, and HST coming out. Nice. Might as well take it slow. We're a freight service. We can't exactly do much about it. Right, let's get up to 30 miles an hour since that'll be the limit. Ooh, there's a GWR green one in that formation. That's very nice. Let's get up to 30 miles an hour. Oh, man. There's another, yet another freight service. What wagons has that got on the back? You've got Cargo Line Volume 2 HOAs filled to the brim with aggregates. Oh, there's a plain blue one. There's a plain blue Networker Turbo without the dynamic lines. That's very cool. You don't see those too often. Oh wait, is that another one to the left? That is another one to the left. Off onto the, I think that's the Salisbury line, if I'm not mistaken. There's a wait, we don't see plain blue ones at any time, and then within a minute we see 3 of them. Oh, this game, man. That's not a bug, that's just me getting, because I think it's like half and half for First Great Western stuff to be either dynamic lines blue or plain blue, and I think it was just luck of the draw that we just saw dynamic lines blue ones the whole time until Reading, and then 3 of them back to back. That is hilarious. As Reading, oh my goodness, 0.9% downhill? Goodness gracious, okay. 500 yards to go. We're stopping at signal Tango 2803. Yes, I know, I'm used the phonetic alphabet there. Quiet. Alright, easy does it. We do. Okay, let's actually get some more dynamic brakes. Not dynamic brakes, direct brake. This thing doesn't have dynamic brakes, I don't think. No, it doesn't. The 66 doesn't have dynamic brakes. Okay, that's an abrupt grade change. Boing from 0.9% to 1.5% basically instantly. Very interesting. That must be a relic of the original track laying. Alright, there's the red signal. 150 yards to go. Easy does it. No, there's our signal on the left-hand side. Wonder if we could see the Class 37 Euro Phoenix colors. Oh, yeah, there it is. There she is. There's two services with that. One in that depot and then one out. And it's the only stock in the whole depot. Alright, 30 yards. Easy does it. I want to get it within 10 yards. Like, that's my standard. Alright, and now. Brake, 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 brake. There we go. Wait for a moment. Let's get the train ready for the next driver. So, put it in neutral and release the automatic brake. And then this train will continue on to Marchwood Ministry of Defense facility. And there we go. Yes. Minus 130 points for speeding. Yeah, that's because we were speeding it slow. But other than that, we were basically perfect. Yeah, so that'll be all for this video, everybody. I hope you all enjoyed. Thank you all so much for watching. Don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the bell for notifications if you are subscribed. Please do become a channel member if you can afford it. It does help me out. And I'll see you all in the next one. Goodbye.